everyone, it is hard to believe today is November 11th and the main gardening season is over. But for us here in North Texas Zone 8A, our gardening season is not over. We're blessed with having mild winters and we can still grow some vegetables and greens from seed. And in this video, I'm going to talk about what we can plant at the end of November and beginning of December. Right now, you can plant outdoors by seed the following greens, and I have to use my notes because there's quite a few of them. So that would be lettuce, kale, collard greens, Swiss chard, mustard greens, and spinach. If you start these seeds outdoors by seed, then it will be important to cover them when we have frost or temperatures go down below 32 degrees Fahrenheit, because little seedlings won't be able to tolerate that kind of cold. But if you're not confident that those seedlings will survive, then you can certainly start those seeds indoors under a grow light, and once they come up and grow a little bit, you can transplant them outside in the beginning of December. And again, if we have really low temperature, then you would have to cover those seedlings to protect them. But if you have transplants for those greens, you can certainly plant them outside right now. The next group of vegetables that'd be good to plant now would be root vegetables like radishes and turnips and beets. Now, you would have to protect those if we have really low temperatures, because hard freeze might kill those seedlings. But those root vegetables will be growing very slowly throughout the winter, under the cover possibly, and then by early spring, they should produce some nice bulbs for you. Spring blooming bulbs like tulips, daffodils, hyacinth, and alliums should be planted between Thanksgiving and Christmas. And the reason is that if you plant them earlier, they will start coming up before we start getting our hard freeze, which we normally get end of December or in January, and that freeze will kill the blooms. At this time, you can plant outdoors such flowers as pansies, violas, ornamental cabbage, ornamental kale, also cyclamen and snapdragons that we have right here. I got this snapdragon on clearance. I planted it at the end of October or beginning of November, and it's putting out flowers, and we've had some chilly nights, and in spite of that, it's doing great. And one and only cyclamen that we have right here is doing pretty well also. In spite of the chilly nights, it's growing and putting out new flowers constantly. Now let me just mention two flowering plants that are great to have in the garden this time of the year, and that would be chrysanthemum and mystic spires salvia. I planted this mystic spires in the end of July, and it was blooming really well in the middle of the summer when we had our extreme heat. And now when we are having much cooler weather, when the temperature goes down to 30 degrees Fahrenheit, it's still blooming. And the same applies to chrysanthemum. I planted it at the end of October. It was putting out flowers. I deadheaded it, and then you can see that it's putting out new buds, and it's covered in bright yellow blooms. And the yellow color of chrysanthemum goes so well with the purple mystic spires salvia. Some people might say that it's a little bit too late to plant herbs outside, but if you have transplants of parsley, cilantro, and dill, I would plant them outdoors, and when the temperatures dip down to 30 degrees Fahrenheit, I would cover them to protect from frost, and then when it gets warmer, I would uncover them again and let them get some sunshine. In spite of cooler temperatures, keep fertilizing your plants. They need to be strong to withstand frost or light freeze, and they will keep growing if you protect them with a frost cover during cooler temperatures. If you have certain perennials that you would like to move from one spot in the garden to another place, this would be a good time. Now, it's a little bit cooler, but you can still cover your plant after you plant it in a new spot to make sure to protect the roots and the plant from light freeze or frost. For example, we have Greggy salvia right here. I don't think this is the best spot for it. I would like it to get more sun, so right now, I could dig it out and move it to another area of our garden that gets more sun. Even though it's getting a little late in the season, but in the end of November, beginning of December, I would still plant seeds of native flowers. And I would like to encourage you to grow more native flowers for your area where you live. I'm trying to incorporate more native flowers in our garden. Last year, I planted a native flower, Millie Blue Sage here, and it's growing wonderfully. It was getting full sun in our intense summer heat. In spite of that, it was growing real well, and it's still blooming even though the temperatures have dipped. Now, right here, we also have a native flower that I planted last fall. It's called Greg's Mist Flower. It was covered in pollinators earlier in the year. Right now, this flower is sending seeds, so I could collect all these seeds and scatter them in the garden where I want it to grow, and in the spring they will start coming up. In fact, right now I have a stack of seeds of native flowers that are native to Texas that I would like to plant, and I think in about a week or maybe sometime this week if I have time, I'll plant them in small containers. I'll put labels there to make sure I don't forget what they are. The seeds of some native plants, especially perennials, need to go through a cold stratification. It's a process when seeds get exposed to cold temperatures for a certain time, and then once it warms up, they start sprouting. So I'll keep those containers outdoors so the seeds can live through some freezing temperatures, and in late winter, early spring, those seeds will start sprouting. So if you live in a climate with mild winters, there's still plenty to plant in late fall. Thank you so much for watching this video, and have a great day.